It was the 1980s. It was summer. The air was sweltering, and the cooked chrome seatbelt buckle of my mom's General Motors automobile was like a hot iron if it touched my skin. But the skies were blue and the clouds puffy and white, and my skin was saved by warm breezes and splashes of water from the public swimming pool called the Sun and Fun. I actually hated swimming, but loved sitting poolside with a popsicle in hand and rocking to the FM radio piped in on the public address system speaker, which lacked low-end or high-end really, and gave us the sounds of summer on a cool mid-range dream. If I were to place any song in that speaker to represent the amalgamation of all those summer days and melted popsicles and foot-scorching hot poolside cement, I can hear it straight away and without a doubt. A song that fires out like neon light show laser beams even in the middle of the day, that sonically mimes the place and time of a young human being not stuck in a classroom, or a church pew, or elbow deep in chores, but out in the fresh air, free and dreaming of the great big world and all that is to come. Doing cool things, living a cool life, growing up and being cool. And what's cool? Better yet, let me ask it this way. What's cooler than rock and roll? The answer, if you're a kid on summer break sitting on a wet towel with sticky hands and the biggest worry in your mind is whether that bee is going to fly across the water towards you, is nothing. And so Starship's We Built This City isn't just the perfect song to be coming out of that little mid-range speaker because it's the most representative song. It's the perfect song to be coming out of that little mid-range speaker because it was the coolest song in the world, at least in the contextual worldview of my young self at that time. We Built This City is, by design, like the perfect coolest song ever for a kid. And here's the thing, whatever your kid self thinks is the coolest song ever, that is the actual coolest song ever. That's the highest bar. It's the brass ring, man. It never gets better. You only get worse. But over time, in some kind of cruel twist of paradox, it's gained this reputation as the worst song ever. Now, think about what I just said one sentence before that one. The one that ended with, no, you only get worse. Alas, in 2004, Blender named it the worst pop song of all time. And in 2011, a Rolling Stone readers poll named it the worst song of the 1980s. And in response to all that, much more recently, some much more thoughtful music YouTubers than me have already risen to its defense, digging into the culture and the story and the details, even interviewing people directly involved. Damn, what am I doing here? Well, recently I just had a little mental breakdown where I listened to it on repeat for days, because my life needed saving, and it saved it. So hang with me, because I want to look at this one with a modern lens, through those naive baby brown eyes. Let's step back in the time machine to 1985 when it first dropped, and let's talk about the music. Like my mental breakdown itself, this video is just going to loop this song over and over. Exciting, right? Madness. We Built This City opens with a chorus.
We built this city. We built this city on rock and roll. Built this city.
Brilliant, simple, elegant move. But not just a chorus, an almost a cappella, ethereal chorus, underscored by some delicate synth pads and a sweet little lick that pulls you right in. A city built on rock and roll calls to mind images of skyscrapers and technology, almost cyberpunk and vaporwave aesthetics as we think of them now. Vintage delay units echo the smooth vocal harmonies around, and a vibe is born. Right as you're swelling with that initial elation and feeling the tension of life released from your body, the song kicks into gear with a gated verb drum fill and an instrumental section that fires the first good adrenaline shot. Nothing but major chords popping like candy on synths and riffing guitars. Now, probably the worst crime of the song is committed here, which is the little 2-chord hit that finishes it out. Just the most asinine, artless, cheesy little ornament both harmonically and rhythmically. But its crime is justified because it's serving as both a tone setter and a palate cleanser. Because the song is about to get to work on some serious business, and this disorientation is necessary for your forthcoming experience. From here, we finally reach the verse.
Say you don't know me. I recognize my face. Say you don't care who goes to that kind of place.
and that 1-2 punch of a cappella chorus and intro pop simmer down into a groove, supported by cracking electronic drums and a bass that bounces like a comet in the dark, while singer Mickey Thomas's voice begins to sing sweet and low about being a cool no-name rock and roller. And if you pay attention, the bass note digs itself in like an anchor.
Knee deep in the hoopla, sinking in your fight.
Never changing as the vocal melodies and other harmonic synths and guitar skronks dance around it, like other planetary bodies and shooting stars in motion as experienced from this one fixed point. This whole effect is made stronger by the contrast of that cheesy little 2-chord hit we got smacked with just moments ago. But that hit wasn't just serving this purpose of juxtaposition alone. It was foreshadowing, because as the verse rises around the unchanging bass, the colors of the chords and the vocals start to really blossom and expand. And we depart from our anchored state, catching some centrifugal velocity as we swing into the pre-chorus. Here we experience another switch-up and are hit with some dark and rhythmic chords as the bass finally joins them. The tension starts to shake a little as synths swell more quickly and guitars begin to stab like twinkling star blinks. Everything gets really thick for just a second, and then the next half of the pre-chorus, just think about what I'm saying here, second half of the pre-chorus, relieves the pressure again. We tease the immortal first line of the chorus, "We built this city." But everything is pre-dawn. Palm-muted guitars chug like a worked-up beating heart in a moment of rest as the synth air clears like a slingshot pulling back, and then bam. Like the sun itself finally shining on all of the city, all of the galaxy, everything aligns and everything comes to life. I don't need to explain the saccharine strength and jubilant vitality of the music here. It is pretty self-evident, but I will draw our attention to some of the contrasts that make it work and feel so potent. From the instrumental of the post-a cappella intro to the beginning of the verse through the pre-chorus in both its sections, we've climbed a melodic mountain that started literally at zero and gracefully and coyly worked itself to an almost apex. And finally, at the drop of the chorus, we are given the shot that makes our eyes dilate. Tonally, after that cheesy little 2-chord hit of the intro, we are brought down into darkness. And as the verse and pre-chorus sections shift along, so does the sense of light. And again, when we hit the chorus, everything turns neon. And rhythmically, during the verse, everything is independent. The bass doing its one-note bounce, the drums cracking their groove, the synths and guitars and vocals all jumping and weaving around, working together but every element in their own zone, like each one showing a different part of a beautiful picture. In the pre-chorus, these elements all fall to the wayside and kind of swirl about together, beginning to fuse. And rhythmically, when the chorus hits, they are finally in total alignment, all playing together, locked in and unified and riding hard. It's insanely effective, and when you combine all these dynamic builds, the result is euphoria. A rush that feels like driving fast and free on a clear blue day or a hot neon night.
Someone always playing corporation games. Who cares? They're always changing corporation names.
From here we whip around for another go on the roller coaster, this time with a verse by Grace Slick for a tonal shift, singing about the battle between rock and rollers and the man, and with a little more energy from the instrumental elements at play, slowly working our overall dynamic up too. After the second chorus rips through, we detour into a beautiful little guitar solo from Craig Chiquico that doesn't shred or show off, just casts a few long, pretty notes that serve basically as a handoff into the bridge. Which itself acts as a kind of anti-chorus that splits the instruments into an angular interlocking weave, kind of wonks out the groove and makes all that momentum we built up stumble and splatter and spill out all over. But it feels good, like hitting a wall, like what comes after all that elation and vibration but a total explosion and breaking apart. The bridge takes you past the apex, And from the floor we find ourselves on there, we pick back up for a third verse where Mickey and Grace trade some lines, taking us into the home stretch. And heading into the final double pre-chorus, we get some flavorful radio DJ dialogue, replacing the singers the first time around.
Looking out over that Golden Gate Bridge on another gorgeous sunny Saturday, and I'm seeing that bumper-to-bumper traffic.
Then finally we hit it, the big outro chorus, which starts to layer in counterpoint vocals, extra guitars, and finally locks into an outro chant that rides the whole thing off into the sunset with soaring guitar licks. Oh man. Then you rewind it or hit the backskip button or reload the YouTube video or whatever it is you gotta do, and you just listen to it again. It's brilliant. I can't get enough. And the video, well, it's just perfect. I don't know how they made this stuff in the 80s, but these technological methods were only in this perfect alignment for this little window of time. This is the real deal 80s stuff so many retro wave enthusiasts try to simulate now, but there is just no way to truly simulate it. It's also the perfect video for a kid's idea of a perfect music video. The colors, the style, the clothes, the hair, the city, the play between day and night, Abe Lincoln dancing and a giant die rolling to crush everyone. It's all on point. And really, that's kinda it. What else can you say? Marconi plays the Mamba, man. And thus, I leave you with this. The answer to the great question, is We Built This City the worst song ever, or the best song ever, isn't actually about the song in question at all, but is instead an answer all about the human who beholds it.